the session. Okay, thank you. Today we are going to talk. Last time we did the monitoring, the execution process, direct and manage. So this time we are going to do this monitoring and control, which is also a part of this during the execution process. So very important one, because the work when the project work is going on, you have to do this monitoring part and the controlling part. The whole project is depending on this, because you will get a lot of problems. You have to solve that one. You have to incorporate your changes and many things happening in this process, and very important process, monitoring and control. So today we are going to discuss on that one. As you know, there are 10 knowledge areas, and each has its own control processes. You know, there are 10 knowledge areas, and each and every has a different, if I come to the previous one, your chart, this chart is very familiar with you. If you go through this one, you know there are 10 knowledge areas. At the left hand corner, you will get 10 knowledge areas, and each and every knowledge area has its own control processes. Now you see, if it is project scope management, there's a control process. For the schedule management, there should be a control process. For the cost management, there is a control process. Likewise, all 10 knowledge areas has its own control processes. Example, that is the example, as we mentioned, the schedule. Now, if you take the control schedule process, which has variance related to the schedule, you will get the variance. If it is a cost control cost process, you will get the variances due to cost. So you have to control that. So those are the control processes available in each and every knowledge areas. So project integration, what is the responsibility of the project integration management? The responsibility of the project integration management process is to integrate all these control processes. Project integration, what project integration management does is it integrate all other rest of the control processes to the benefit of this project. That is the project integration management in the control monitoring and control process. The monitoring and control process actually it has the responsibility of integrating the other rest of the control processes available and to the benefit of the project. So what you do is monitoring and control process, it has the responsibility of integrating all other control information. So that is what you get from the other processes. You get work performance information. Finally, so the scope management process, you get the work performance information. The cost control process, you get the work performance information. So what you do is you integrate all these things and consolidate and submit to your the consolidated version of this process. So the monitoring controlling is a very important process because it consolidate and integrate everything. That means all the work performance information get from other knowledge areas. You mean other control processes. Now you know each and every knowledge area has a separate control process. Each control process has a work performance information as the output. So what you do is in the integration management, you collect all these things and integrate in a consolidated manner. So that is the process of monitoring and control of the project. That's the monitoring and controlling process of the project. If I repeat it again, all the knowledge areas has its own controlling processes. All these controlling processes generate an output as a work performance information. All these work performance information from the other control processes, what you do is you integrate all these things and produced in a consolidated manner in the project integration management process. That is the integration management, the monitoring and controlling process of the project integration management. This is you have to keep in mind. Now it's now we have to see how are you going to do this one. That's it. You get the work performance information from all other controlling processes. What you do is in the project integration management, the monitoring controlling process of the project integration management, what I'm going to do is to integrate all these other work performance information in a consolidated way to the benefit of the project. That is the integration management part of the monitoring and controlling process. So it is the responsibility of the project manager. So let's see how are you going to do that. That is what we are going to learn today. And when you now if you are handling this project control process, you have to take into account your plan. You have to have a plan. Otherwise, how are you going to control it? You have to compare with the some base. You have a baseline. The project management plan. You have 10 then subsidiary plans. So those are the baselines. So you have to compare how to control. Your actual work has to be compared to your plan values and actual values. For that one, you have to have the project management plan. That is why project management plan has been given an important place as an input in this process. So you need the project management plan, and any other components means you have 10 subsidiary plans. Out of that, scope management, schedule management plan, cost management, risk management, stakeholder engagement, communication management, procurement management. Likewise, you have 10 areas, the subsidiary plans. So all these things are coming into the scene when you select the project management as an input to this process, because project management plan is an important part in this controlling process, because there should be something you have to have a base to compare your actual work. So your project management plan, you are going to take it as an input to this process. And what else? You have, so each and now if you see all these subsidiary plans, scope, schedule, cost, quality, risk, stakeholder engagement, communication, or what is procurement. All these things generate work performance information. All these subsidiary plans, you get finally the work performance information when you monitor all these things. Then this information also gives what do you get? A schedule forecast or cost forecast. You are getting that one. So all these things you have to take it as input. So work performance information is very important, because out of all these 10 subsidiary plans, when you monitor and control all these separately, you get work performance information finally. Your actual values and compare with the baseline of these plans, subsidiary plans, you get work performance information. So that will be another important input to this process. And as usual, you get the your working environment. You are working in such an environment, you need to take that environment. Your organization is working in an internal environment as well as external environment. You have to consider this one we have discussed in many times. So EEF should be there, enterprise environment factors, and as usual the OPA should be there as an input, because the organization work in a unique way compared to the other organizations. So you will have different templates, your procedures, and all these things come into the scene as an input when you carry out the monitoring and control project work. So what else? So you will have validated change requests, because you will have validated change requests also you have to consider as your inputs. That will be there. So when you read on this one. And other thing, you will have to, as it is also always you are coming, you will need all these project documents, your assumptions, your estimate, how to the estimation type, basis of estimates, and your cost forecast, issue logs, all these things, milestone, and all these documents you will need as an input when you do this monitoring and control process, because you have taken certain decisions in these documents. Your cost forecast, as an example, if you say your cost forecast is so by next August, you have to spend 100 million. That is your cost. So if you don't have that detail, how can you monitor? How can you monitor whether we are doing that, we are reaching the correct one or not? We have to decide. So for that one, you need this forecast. So your cost forecast, schedule forecast, other outputs of these processes, these subsidiary management processes, they are considered as input to this monitoring and control process in the project integration management. So we are going to look at it in an integrated manner and consolidate all these processes. So in this one, so we take it as these project documents as an input, because it is very important to take the decisions, because we have taken some decisions in these documents. So those should be considered as input to your monitoring and control process. When you are monitoring and controlling the project, you need to consider your issues. What are the issues? What are the risks? What are the quality you have to achieve, and what you have achieved? So all these, your milestone is what are the important events in your project. So all these things should be considered as inputs, because you should carry out your analysis whether you have achieved all these things or not. What are you going to do that after that? So all these things, monitoring and controlling the project work. So integration management is actual speaking, it is a responsibility of the project manager. So he will integrate all the outputs from other processes to carry out this monitoring and controlling work. So we can now finally what you do. So after doing this one, you will get your main idea is to develop the work performance report. It is the work performance report is the main output of this process. So how do we do? How are you going to do that? That is, how do we do that? That is the important part of this. Sorry, of this work, this process. So how are you going to achieve that one? You have an input. You have to do something, and you have to finally develop your project performance report. So that will give how the project is going to work. The project work performance report gives what is the level of work you have achieved, what are you going to do the next, and everything you will get from the work performance report. So this is very important in your carrying out the work. So so this is a process. So this is now how are you going to do? So to answer that one, if you see these things, what do you need actually? Somebody should get involved and do the thing. So that means it is some thinking process. This is a thinking process. So you need, if it is a thinking process, what do you need is, you need some people to come and do this. That means you need some expert judgment in this, because since this is a thinking process, you need the expert judgment. So what these experts come and do, they will apply their knowledge and their experience and and decide on analytical techniques, and they will have some analytics, so data analysis they can carry out, and different analytical techniques, say as alternative analysis, cost benefit analysis, earned value analysis, root cause analysis, trend analysis, variance analysis, or regression, or whatever. They can carry out all these things, the reserve analysis, all these things they can do. They are not mentioned, but they can do reserve analysis, regression, whatever it is. They will carry out all these things, and have some meetings to take the decisions. That is what we call tools and techniques. So since this is a thinking process, you need some experts to decide on what to do, and they will carry out the relevant analysis to decide on the output, and they will have a lot of meeting to take the decision. So all these things are tools and techniques. So you know now what are the inputs, you know, and what is your main output. How are you going to achieve that type output? It is a thinking process. You need experts. So they will carry out these analysis, and they will take a decision by having meetings. So this is the thing you have to consider in monitoring and controlling process. So what are the other outputs? What are other important outputs? The change request. So you will generate changes because each and every, say, scope or schedule or whatever, there will be some variances. When you analyze this one, they will suggest variations in scope and variance in time. So you have to incorporate all these things. So there will be, because of that, there will be changes. That means you will have to produce your change request. So it will be an output of this process. After carrying out expert judgment, there will be some variances. Due to these variances, there will be change requests. That is inevitable. All the projects you get changes. So how do you address these changes? You know, change control process. You have a change control board. So you know how to do that. We have discussed in many times the change rigs. So these are the output of change rigs. Then what are you going to do? When these changes comes, you will have to change your project management plan. So you will have to update your project management plan as well as your 10 subsidiary plans, because if it is related to scope, you'll have to change the scope management plan as well as the project management plan. If it is related to schedule, you have to change the schedule management plan as well as the project management plan. So it's like that. So what are the other things you have to update? You have considered many project documents. You will have to update your project documents. Sometimes you will get different assumptions this time. So estimating type, sometimes you will decide to change because expert can change that one. So your issue logs can be different. So you have to update all these things. So anything can be changed. Your risk, there will be some new risks. Or sometimes you will remove that risk. Because if you have the reserves, sometimes you can remove the risks. So likewise, you can consider all these things and update your project documents. So this is the, in nutshell, this is the concept of this one, monitoring and control projects. Now we'll go by this literature uh, and understand in details. So as a summary, if I tell you again, now this process, you have 10 knowledge areas that you know. Each knowledge area has its own controlling process. Each and every control process, now hello, 1 minute. Okay, now each and every control process has its hello. Can you hear? Hello. Hello. Something has happened, it seems. Okay. Okay. There's something happened. Oh, anyway, I'll repeat it again. So, as in a nutshell, in a summary, this is what we have learned so far. You have 10 knowledge areas. Each and every knowledge area produce. It has its own controlling process. So, each and every control process will identify variances related to that process. The cost process, cost control process, there will be variances. And schedule control process, there will be variance related to that each and every controlling processes. In the project integration management process, what you do is we recognize all these things and integrate all of the process to and produce it as a consolidated manner. That is the responsibility of the project manager. Monitoring and control process has the responsibility of integrating other control information, the work performance information, in a consolidated manner. That is the monitoring and controlling process of the integration management. So this is what we have learned now. So we will now go into details. So now if you, this is the PMP literature, so we'll go by that one. Monitoring and control project work. Monitoring and control project work is the process of tracking, reviewing, and reporting the overall progress to meet the performance objectives defined in the project management plan. That is understood. That is what monitoring and controlling means. What you do is in the monitoring and controlling process, you track the progress, you review it, and report in the overall progress. That is monitoring and control. When the work in the project, when the work is going on, what you do is you will see whether the work is going in correct way. How to compare that whether it is working correct way? You have a plan. So you compare with the plan, your project management plan, and you see whether the thing is happening in time. Under this budget or under the correct cost and your time, your quality, you check everything. So you check the quality, you whether it you have to do it in a proper time, and you have to maintain your cost, and you have to maintain your scope. Everything you are maintaining. So you're tracking means you are comparing with your baselines. Your progress is your tracking means you are comparing with your baselines, and you monitor work. And when you are monitoring, sometimes you will find there will be some changes have to do this. You do so you carry out the control process. If there are changes, you put the change request, you carry out this and forward it to the change control process. You check the output and incorporate the changes. Like that, you do this controlling part also. So monitoring and control process is tracking, reviewing, and reporting the overall progress to meet the performance objectives. That means you are you have to achieve your objectives. The benefit. What is the key benefit of this process? That is to allow the stakeholders to understand the current state of the project, to recognize the action taken to address any performance issue. That means finally you are going to, your project manager is going to report your final outcome to the your stakeholders. This can be your senior management, your internal stakeholders, and your funding agent, the external stakeholders, and other organization. You have stakeholders, so you can give your progress. So if we are digging your road to do pipe laying, your progress has to be informed to the Ceylon Electricity Board also. Why? They are interested, they are stakeholders, because they also have some projects to do cable laying. So they are waiting until we complete this section. So our progress is important to other external stakeholders also. Then our progress is important to our senior management, your company board, your company direct board. Why? They have to take decisions whether they want to see whether you are running at a loss or you are running out of time. So all these things are important for your senior management, because they have to do the budgeting, whether you are under cost, you are exceeding the available cost, your budget. So all these things the company has to look after. So internal stakeholders also interested in your project progress. That is why you will be having certain meetings, project progress meeting with your senior management as well as with the other stakeholders, because if you are running at a loss or you are behind your schedule, they will have to take some action, either to remove the project manager, appoint a new project manager, or whatever they have to do, because the project progress is important to the stakeholders. So your duty to report your project progress. That is why reporting the overall progress to meet the performance objective defined in the project management plan. Reporting is you are doing that reporting to your internal and external stakeholders. So the key benefit is to your key benefit is of the process is that it allows stakeholders to understand current status of the project. That is the most important part, and this process is performed throughout the project. Is, while the project is going on, you are active in this monitoring and control project work process, because it is a continuous process. You can't keep out of that. So when you are doing a project, you have to be at it, because there's no other way to ignore that one, because you will miss your reporting, your tracking. Sometimes there can be cost overrun. If you ignore that one, that can be a very big cost overrun. That can happen. A variation, that also can happen. So it is money. If it is a variation, sometimes the variation comes in millions or billions in big projects. So that means you are careless. Your project, as a project manager, you have to be at it. You just can't keep the work and go and enjoy in some other place. No, that's not the way, because while you are working, you have to be at it. That means you have to keep your track always with the project. So tracking is very important. Reviewing is important. Reporting is also important. Tracking, reviewing, and reporting is your main task as the project manager. So monitoring and control process is very vital in projects. That is the thing you are going to monitor, or you are going to achieve something in the process. Either uh, you can earn profits, or you can lose, or you can have a time overrun. You will pay more variances to your contractors or something. Why? Because of your inability, or if you are not resourceful, you can't do this work. So as a project manager, you have to learn your subject properly, and you have to be very resourceful to carry out the project work. It's learning is different thing, but applying is very important. You to do that, to apply all these tools and techniques, you should have knowledge. You should have a proper knowledge base, and you should have a good experience in handling the project work. Then you can be a very good project manager uh, to serve your company and to your stakeholders. So if you build up your name as a good project manager, you will get more work, and you will be recognized as one of the best project managers. Likewise, so you can achieve your targets by learning this project management. So monitoring and controlling process is a most important and very advanced process in this integration management. So that is what we have to learn. So monitoring is an aspect of project management performed throughout the project. Monitoring includes collecting. So what do you get in this monitoring? What do you do in the monitoring? You collect, measure, assess. All these things you do in this process. You collect details. Monitoring include collecting, measuring, assessing measurements and trends to effect process improvement. So what you do is, when you read, when you get all the details, you may assess, measurement, you observe things, and you can do some process improvements. Sometimes some things will be lesson learned, but if even you can't change this one, you will have some adverse effect, but you will learn something for the next project. So monitoring, these collecting, measuring and assessing, it is very important in carrying out project work. So monitoring part is fully engaged in this type of work. Continuous monitoring gives the project management team insights into the health of the project and identify any areas that may require special attention. When you look at the projects all the time, what you see is you will have an understanding of the health of the projects. So what status of the project, whether it is going in health means whether it is going in the correct path or going in the wrong path. If it's going in the wrong path, you have to do some corrective action, so it is unhealthy. So if it is the project is in good health, so if it is running at the real cost and schedule and cost and everything is okay, so it is in good health. So you can see the health condition of the project, you can identify. And if there's something going wrong, so you can have some special attention to that area. For that one, you have to do the continuous monitoring. If you don't do the continuous monitoring, you will not identify those types of lapses in the project. The control includes determining corrective and preventive action, or replanning and following up on action plans to determine whether the action takes resolve the performance issues. So controlling is the other part. In the control is the second part of this process. So if when you monitor, you will see all these things. So you take the controlling action. So you do the corrective action or preventive action or replanning or whatever you can do to control the process. If you see it is running out of your cost, you will have to do something to maintain the cost and bring back to the right path. So that is you can do if you do continuous monitoring. Otherwise, you will miss all these things. If you control today, if you are not going to have, you are going to have a party tomorrow, going on a trip, and tomorrow you are not going to do anything, you will not give responsibility to anybody, and next day you will come and try to do that. Sometimes during the previous day, the cost might have overrun. So it will be in millions. So you are answerable as a project manager. So this continuous monitoring is very important in project management. So you have a very good team, project management team, to do that. So the project manager's function is to overlook all these things and carry out your meetings with your staff and give your judgment. And likewise, you have to do the continuous monitoring. Normally in projects, you will have, in big projects, every day there's a progress meeting. Sometimes soon after the project work is over, sometimes 5 p.m., sometimes it will go up to 7 p.m. It's like that. So sometimes some projects have weekly meetings, some have fortnightly meetings. So I can remember when I was in some private company, we had a fortnightly meeting. I chaired the meeting. So in that meeting, all the managers, these in specialized areas, are coming for the meeting and discuss all these things and take the decisions. So that is an important meeting. So you can arrange it fortnightly or weekly or daily also. Some projects they will do the daily, or otherwise, as the project manager can have fortnightly meetings. That is what I did, fortnightly meetings. And these some area managers, site managers, section managers can have daily meetings. So all these out will come to the fortnightly meeting to take the decisions. So that can happen. So other than this one, you will have some meetings with the stakeholders for this monitoring process, and you will have the steering committees to high level meetings. That means if you can't solve this project within the project, you need to get involved all these the other government organization, whatever. So we will have to go to a higher level of authority. So high level of authority means you will have the steering committee meetings in Sri Lanka, in local projects. Sometimes you will have the steering committee will be chaired by the secretary to the ministry. So you have to go and tell your problems, and all other heads of the other organizations are also coming in the steering meeting. So they will give the decisions. Okay, we will do like that to help you to carry out the project. So likewise, all these things are monitoring of the project. Not only the project manager by himself. They are a supporting organization. You have to arrange in the project. You have to identify when you do the planning work, when are you going to have the steering committee, when are you going to have the coordinating committee meetings. So all these things with the external stakeholders, you have to arrange to get the help to carry out the project work. So these type of, at each and every level, you have to, when you are doing the planning work, you have to identify what are the things you have to do, what are the things you have to. So monitoring part is very important. Discontinuous monitoring is very important to take decisions. Otherwise, what will happen is, without your knowledge, sometimes there will be schedule overruns, cost overruns, and if you are handling your contractors, they will put some big claims because of your lapses and your delays. They will take the advantage of putting the claims. These claims comes in sometimes millions, sometimes billions. So this time, when the foreign contractors comes, it will be in billions. So we have that experience also. So you have to be very careful as the project manager. The monitoring and controlling part, you can't get out of that, because that is that much important. So that is why it says you need the continuous monitoring. So I think you have understood. The monitoring and control project work process is concerned with comparing actual project performance against the project management, and that is what we discuss. Assessing performance periodically to determine whether any corrective or preventive action, that is monitoring, controlling part. Assessing performance periodically to determine whether any corrective or preventive actions are indicated, and then recommending those actions as necessary. That is the assessing performance. Then checking the status of individual project risks. So you have a risk register, you have the issues log. So all these things are there. So with these things, you check whether you are addressing the project risk, status of the project risk. Each and every, there's a risk register. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You, while doing the work, you will see, go through that one and check whether you have addressed those risks, or are there any some more risks available. So how are you going to address this one? So what is the status of that risk, whether we have achieved that, what is the action we have taken to curb that one. Likewise, you have to think of that. So you are checking the status of the your risk register. So maintaining an accurate, timely information base concerning the project's products and their associated documentation through project completion. Maintaining an accurate, timely information base concerning the project's products and their associated documentation. So you need to have that one. You have to maintain your document. Your documentation is very important. You should have information base when you are developing some products or something. Projects, you get the objectives, you get the outputs. You should have some information base to maintain in your projects. That is important. Providing information to support status reporting, progress measurements, and forecast. That's also the reporting, the progress reporting, forecasting. Everything is very important as a project manager. Actually you are providing information. So you have a project team. So all these things you are not going to do alone, because project manager has a project management team. You have a project management unit. You have a project management office. You are maintaining all these things. You have your expert areas. There are some functional managers. Each and every function, there are some functional experts under you. So you will have to monitor all these things. So providing information, providing the forecast is not that difficult, because if you have staff for that, but you are the person who take the decision. So you should be at it all the time. You can't just give, you do this, you can't do that. You have to lead all these things. Project management manager should be a leader, not just a manager. So he should be a leader. You have to go with that every time. You have to call people. You have to ask what you have done. So shall we do like this? Why, if you are doing like that, why don't you consider these things? So to ask all these questions, project manager has to be knowledgeable than all other people. That is why it is important. A project manager has to be resourceful. So providing information and providing forecast is important. It's a very area to be considered. And monitoring implementation of approved changes as they go. So this is the change. I told you this one. In your control process, monitoring and control, when you get all these things, there are approved changes, you have to implement all these things. That is also there. You have to consider providing appropriate reporting on project progress and status to program management when the project is part of the overall program. The project, if there's a, so above you, if this project is coming under your program or portfolio, whatever, you'll have to report to the top. Or otherwise, if it is your under the company handles your project, so you have to inform your company hierarchy, the senior management. So likewise, you have to do the progress reporting. That is also important. So then ensure that the project stays aligned with the business needs. So that is finally, why are we going to carry out a project? You have to fulfill your company requirements. So any business need, say it's a government company, it's a service project, so you have to fulfill whether it is achieved or not. So ensuring the project stays, ensuring that the project stays aligned with the business needs. You have to satisfy the business needs, so you have to check whether it is achieving. While doing also say, so are we going in the correct path, or are we in the correct direction to achieve these business goals of the organization? So you have to align all the time your work with your business, whether we are achieving that one. If it is not the, if you see we are deviating from the route, so you have to correct it. You have to take the corrective action, remedial action you have to take. So that is why you need continuous monitoring. So you have to ensure all these things. So what are the inputs we discussed? Project management plan, and we said why it is important. You have to compare with the baseline, so it is important as an input. And project documents you need monitor. Now if you say project management plan, monitoring and control project work involves looking at all aspects of the project. Any component from the project management plan may be an input for this process. That means there are 10 subsidiary plans. So all these things, scope or schedule or whatever, you will have to have an input, because based on that one, you are going to monitor. So you look at the plan and monitor whether we have achieved that one, actual work. So project management plan is the input or main input of the monitoring and controlling process. Then the project documents. Project documents that can be considered as input for this process are assumption log. Assumption log contains information about assumptions. So you have identified assumptions in many processes, many subsidiaries. So all these things are coming to see. Project documents are, you have documented your assumption. These assumption log contains information about assumptions and contains identified as affecting the project. All these assumptions. So if you are, when you are doing the excavation, I told, if you find, now this is the actual situation I will tell you, when we were doing some excavations in the city area in Kandy, Kandy is a heritage city. Sometimes you will find some monuments. So it's some archaeological monuments when you are digging the ground, because so that one we identified at the initial stage, and you put an assumption when you do the excavation. Normally we carry out excavation for pipe laying. We use the machinery, heavy machinery we use. Otherwise you will not do manual work, because machinery to dig the ground, sometimes under the ground, say 5-6 meters down, we have to excavate to lay the big pipes. So for that we are going to use the machinery. But so in the assumptions we put Kandy city, the heart of the city, in and around this lake and all that, you will find some archaeological places. So when you are going to do the archaeological places, if you use the machinery, what will happen? You will break those things and damage the archaeological monuments buried in the ground. So when you dig the excavation, we put, you are not going to do this machinery. So assumption is In this area, we have archaeological monuments, so we will start with the manual excavation and show these to the archaeology department. Under the supervision of the archaeology department, you have to do the excavation. So we assume that one. Assuming there are some monuments down there. So likewise, when you do some pipeline, we sometimes identify there can be this area, there's a big rock. So you don't see under, say in the ground, 5-6 meter down, you don't see anything, but you investigate, sometimes you will miss it also, investigation. So you will identify, you have some assumptions. And this area, if you are going to do the excavation in the night, there will be problem from the people. So we are not, assumption is this area you have to do only on weekends and daytime. So we assume there will be problems. So the assumptions of the log can have so many things: technical assumptions, social assumption, religious things, many things you can add. So all these things are in the assumptions log. And the basis of estimate. Basis of estimate indicate how the various estimates were derived and can be used to make a decision on how to respond to variances. The estimating purpose. Sometimes say for this work, this is the cost, we add 10%. Cost plus 10% we are going for. The estimation is that one. You get the actual cost, put 10%. Otherwise, you have a rate developed say, by the government or whatever an organization. You take that one. For this one, to do a 1 cubic meter, this is the price. Like when there's a way. So if you are doing 10 cubic meters, so you multiply by this rate, you get the answer. Likewise, there are some estimation techniques. So you will see in an excavation how I am going to estimate. Obviously, some social work or product development, similarly, there will be some estimating techniques. So for that industry, there's a specific estimating technique, each and every. So it is apparel industry, there's a way of doing that one, estimation. So you have to take that one as your basis of estimates. So basis of estimates indicate how the various estimates are derived and can be used to make decisions on how to respond to the variance. When you get the variances, how to apply that one, how to calculate the cost for that one, how to calculate the duration for that one, your variance, the difference. So all these things are, you have to do that incorporating your basis of estimation. So basis of estimation also very important as a project document when you have as an input. Then your cost forecast. Based on the project's past performance, the cost forecasts are used to determine if the project is within defined tolerance range for budget and to identify any necessary changes because the cost, that is the thing, cost forecast. Actually, now this is based on the past project performance. A similar project, if you have some done many projects, you can forecast the cost. This work, this much you are going to spend, because in that project we did it run the similar thing. So if we did that one in 10 years back, so for this year our cost forecast is for that one plus 20% escalation, because the money value changes. So we can forecast like that. So that one, now similar price, similar commitment will be there this work also, but that work we have done in 10 years back. So there will be a cost difference due to the inflation, the rupee value and all that. So we add 20%, and this will be the cost for this work. Likewise, you can forecast your costs. Issue log. The issue log used to document and monitor who is responsible for resolving specific issues by a target date. The issues log can identify the issues and the person who handled it. So it is a very comprehensive thing, because the project manager knows to communicate with the right person, because we have identified and it is already communicated to that particular person. You have to settle this matter. While doing this construction work, there will be protest from the people. So you as the sociologist, you have to settle this problem. So there is the issue and who is responsible to solve this issue. So likewise, you can identify the issues and the responsible person to resolve that issue. The lesson learned register. The lesson learned register may have information on effective responses for variances and corrective and preventive actions taken at the previous project. So this is a lesson learned. So you are going to implement that experience to this project also. How did we carry out these variances? How did we address to that one? What are the corrective and preventive action taken in that early work, the previous phase of the project or the previous project? So you are going to, it is in the lesson learned register, you are updating the lesson learned register. So you get that as an input to this project. So we have learned this one, so we can handle this one as also the same way. So milestone register, milestone list. The milestone list shows the scheduled date for specific milestones and is used to check if the planned milestone have been met or achieved. So there are milestones, the important dates. Excavation is over by 10th. So we can check whether we have achieved on 10th. No, we have not completed. So we need another 5 days. So that means milestone is required to monitor the project. Likewise, the quality report. The quality reports include quality management issues, recommendation for process, project and product improvements, corrective action and recommendation. So that the quality reports also address the quality management issues. So those things are very important because it gives, if there are issues, they will give the recommendations. All these recommendations are required to carry out the process. If there's a deviation, corrective action, repair work, whatever you can attend, defects repair, whatever you can achieve, because the quality reports are there. You know what are the standards you have to maintain. So that is important for that one. Then the risk register. The risk register provides information on threats and opportunities that have occurred during project execution. So all these things are important to carry out the work. Risk report. The risk report also in some information on the overall project 6. The risk register is the number of 1, 2, 3, 4, and the information gives some detail involved. The schedule forecast. Based on the project's past performance, the schedule forecasts are used to determine if the project is within defined tolerance range for schedule. So schedule forecast is also like that. That is also based on the past performance. You will identify this excavation work will be completed by this date because we have the experience of doing this one in previous projects. So that is forecast. You can forecast. Now you have some so I am a developing company. So we are carrying out dwelling construction, the house construction. So this house construction, we know for this foundation concreting we took 10 days. So while planning the other one also, we can say, oh, it will take only 10 days. So you can do a schedule forecast. It will take only 10 days, not more than that, because we have experience. We have learned that. So likewise, schedule also you can. So work performance information. So it is an input. I told every subsidiary control processes you get a output, that is work performance information. So that is very important. Work performance information is very important. Work performance data is gathered to work execution and passed to the controlling process. That is the previous process. Directing work and execution of work. Work performance data, we are getting the work performance data from that process. So we are going to use this as an input to this monitoring and control process. So direct and manage project work, you get an output. That output, you are going to take it as an input to this process. That is what happened to become work performance information. To become work performance, when the work performance data are compared with the project management plan components, project documents, and other project variables, this component indicate how the Comparison indicates how the project is performed. So that is, for example, work performance data on cost may include funds that have been expended. However, to useful, the data has to be compared to the budget. The work that was performed, the resources used to accomplish the work, and the funding schedule. This additional information provides the context to determine if the project is on budget or if there's a variance. It also indicates the degree of variance from the plan, and by comparing it to the variance threshold in the project management plan, it can indicate if preventive or correcting action is required. This is important. Work performance data on cost may include funds that have been expended. But what is the funds available? The cost performance data will show that how much you have expended, how you have වියදම් කරලා තියෙන්නේ කොච්චර. However, to be useful, that data has to be compared to the budget. So you know what is out of work performance data, you know how much you have spent. But you have to compare with your budget. Otherwise, that's only a data. This much you have spent. It's a data, but you have to compare with the budget, whether you have spent the correct amount. You have to compare with the budget. The resources used, completion the work and funding schedules, you have to compare. This additional information provides the context to determine if the project is on budget or if there is a variance. If you compare this only, you will see whether we are running at a loss or we are behind the schedule or whatever, you can decide. So this is information. This is the information, not only data. Work performance data is only data, but you make it to, you change it to information comparing with the budget. Then you will know the actual situation, you will know the information, whether you have cost overrun, whether you are under cost, all these things you are going to identify. So work performance information is very important because of that. Then what are the other inputs? Agreements. A procurement agreement includes its terms and condition and may incorporate other items that the buyers specify regarding that the sellers is the performer. These are some explanations. Some give some examples. If the project is outsourcing part of the work, the project manager need to oversee the contractor's work to make certain that all the agreements meet the specific need of the project. When you take outsource some services, now you are doing a construction work of a building. So what you outsource now, if your company has all other labor, your excavation machinery, all these things are there. So you can carry out jolly well, you can carry out the work without taking any thing from the outside. But when you while you are doing the work, you have to get some material. You need some brick, you will need some metal, you will need some sand. So you are not going to, your company is not going to produce. So you have to outsource those things. You have to buy from the outside. So when you are buying, say you need 100 cubes of sand for this project. So what are you going to do? You will find a supplier or another company, and you find sign an agreement. This 100 cubes you have to submit in this way. First month you have to submit 10 cubes. Second month 5 cubes. Likewise, you will have an agreement with the supplier uh, because you have to get the service in time. So you will have all these things. Agreement documents is very important as an input, because you should know when he's going to supply this one. So we're monitoring whether that person didn't supply sand in time. So monitoring policy is there. So you have to take some controlling action, either to change that supplier or take some additional supplier. So when you monitor only, you can do the controlling part. So you have to do the change request, and you can do that one. If your sand supply is actually is not supplying your sand, there's an undersupply. So you have to make it correct. You have to find another supply, or put that man out and get a good supply. So those things you have to do. That you can do if you do monitoring continuously only. Then you can take the controlling action. So likewise, if you outsource part of work, you should have that agreement. Then only you will know what is the agreement, whether he has fulfilled the agreement or not, whether he has satisfied our requirement or not. All these things, the agreement should be there to understand. So what are the enterprise environmental factors? As usual, you are working in a certain environment, your internal, the company environment, as well as the external environment. So project management information systems such as scheduling, cost, resourcing tools, performance indicators, database, this is the company environment. Then the infrastructure. What do you have? You are going to use is your infrastructure, existing facilities, organization telecommunication channel, stakeholder expectation, and risk threshold. So what is the company's the handling this environment, stakeholder environment? How to manage that one? How are you handling these stakeholders? This is your internal environment. Government or industry standards. This is the external environment. There are some regulations. Whatever the rules and regulations in your company, that should be satisfied the government regulation, industry standards, and everything. So they are on top of that. So you have to have these external environmental requirements to satisfy by your project. So all these things you have to consider. That is the enterprise environment factors. That is a very important input. So what is the organizational process assets? If you take the organization process assets, your standard policies, you have some certain policies, your templates and your financial controlling procedures, reporting methods, monitoring methods, all these things are there. There's some companies have a reporting technique. How are you going to report? You have some templates, you have some forms to fill, weekly forms, monthly forms. And if you are ISO company, you have some reporting techniques, different reporting techniques. You have to have, if you are ISO company, you have certain documents you have to submit for each and every one. You have to maintain registers, you have to fill out forms. So if it is ISO, so likewise, there are some standards you are maintaining in a company. If it is ISO, most of the companies carry out some similar manner. But if the company has, if you are not ISO, you have some certain standards you are going to carry out. So those are the reporting manner, issue, and the issue management procedures, defining issue control, issue identification. There will be a way, procedures. Lay down procedures for that company, how to analyze issue, how to collect the issues, who is to collect the issues, how to collect, at what stage you are going to collect the issues. So what are the procedures to analyze all these things? And issue management, how are you carry out the issue management? So there will be some checklists developed, how to do this one. And if you are carrying out some maintenance work of a plant, how are you going to carry out that? There will be some checklist, and there will be some durations identified. So all these things are in the organization process asset. Those are assets because that is developed by through this tacit knowledge. It may be through the tacit, by the experience you have developed your company. Some very well experienced companies have very advanced the assets, the processes. So why? Because of their knowledge and experience, mainly the experience, that is tacit knowledge. So organizational knowledge base, in particular, no, is a defect management procedures, defining defect control, defect identification, resolution, action. So those are the procedures. There are some procedures, defect management procedures, the grievance procedures. If the people has some problems, so there's a grievance management systems. So all these things are, they are in many organizations. It is changing from organization to organization and industry to industry. It can change from the industry. The construction industry may have different defect management procedures compared to the production industry, apparel industry, manufacturing industry, So there can be some different industries can have different defects management procedures. Organizational knowledge base in particular process measurements and the lesson learned repository. Knowledge base is the lesson learned repository. That means what you have gathered from the previous project. It's a knowledge base. It's a company knowledge base. It can be it can be mainly sometimes the tacit knowledge, explicit knowledge, what you have learned. So what you have learned from the project by a true experience, what we have learned. So you can document certain things. So this type of work, it's better you can do like this because we have some experience. So that is lesson learned. Now we are coming to the tools and techniques. Before coming to the tools and techniques, I want to know whether you have understood these things. Can I proceed? Or you have any questions or clarifications? Oh, answer. I need an answer. Can I proceed? Okay. Okay, I'll proceed. So now we are coming to the tools and techniques. Now we said this is a thinking process. This is the thinking process. You need some. So because finally you are going to develop work performance report. So finally we are going to develop work performance report. That is the main output of this process. So to develop the work performance report out of all these details, while the work is going on, you need some. This is a thinking process. So there's no other thing to do now. You need to think and do certain things. So since this is a thinking process, you need experts for this one. They will carry out analysis and take some decisions by having some meetings. So this is the tools and techniques. So we are going to learn that one. So what are the? So you need expert judgment. What are the experts? Who are the experts we are going to select? So they should have some knowledge in analytical techniques. There are certain analytical techniques you have to monitor the projects. So those things you have to carry out by the experts. So you can have one or two experts. Some experts may have certain 2 or 3 knowledge areas they are good, they may be good in. So you have to decide on that one, whether you are taking one person or say expert company. You can get some consultancy company, or you are getting some individual expert freelance consultants, 2 or 3 people. Or likewise you can decide on that, because when you handle this industry, you may have some idea who are the experts. By name you will know, by the name of the company you will know, these are the experts to handle this type of work. There are certain companies, the consultants handling this one. There are individual consultant freelance, so they will come and do this work. So you will decide depending on the industry. If you know in this industry this type of people are available. If you don't know, you can contact some other people, get the knowledge. You can contact your senior management. Likewise, the previous project, how did we do that one? Who are the people we handled that? So you can have experts for this type of one, because it's a thinking process. So you will have certain analysis techniques you will have to use depending on your work. So it can be earned value analysis, it can be trend analysis, it can be certain things. Techniques to estimation, duration, cost, interpretation of your contextual data interpretation, techniques to estimate duration and cost. That also there are certain people, and you carry out the trend analysis, whether it is going the right direction, the technical knowledge on the industry and focus area of the project, and risk management experts, contract management experts. That is also there. You don't think of that, but contract management is very important, because if you don't have the correct contract management procedures, what will happen is sometimes projects normally goes overrun if you don't have that ability. If you don't have, because you don't think of that much, but if you don't have a contract management specialist, what will happen is in most projects, sometimes if you are using a service provider or contractor, sometimes you will get claims in billions, sometimes millions. If you're close monitoring, or if you sometimes if you're writing a letter, can cause big troubles if you don't have a contact management in projects. I have this experience. In many projects we have a contract specialist in a project, because writing letters to the contractor or the person who handled the work, if you write it in the wrong directions, if you miss one or two words, sometimes it costs millions. He will put a claim by using that one, capitalizing that our mistakes. The contract put in millions. That has happened in many projects in seal. Like I can remember this Belfa BT and many big projects. Sometimes their claims are in billions. So you can't. That is it. Claims are inavailable if you don't have some real contract administration work in projects, especially the construction project. It happens normally because I'm involved in the construction industry, so I know this type of problems always come in construction. If you don't manage the contract properly, if you have agreement with the people to do the work, so if you don't have that contract, so agreement means there's a binding contract with the some other contract organization. So if you are handling the foreign contractors, what will happen is if you don't have a proper contract administration procedure, management procedure, you will be in trouble, and you are, as the project manager, answerable for millions and billions of rupees. So it is, the contract management is also one part. You need to have some experts in this area, so this is important. Then when it comes to data analysis, it's an important part. So we are learning all these things, but you don't want to, not in detail, but you can have some idea. But I don't know whether you are learning all these things in some other areas. Your financial management or something. I don't know whether you are learning all these things. But anyway, here we are going to not going to do some calculation, do some exercise. No, nothing that much. But we'll have some idea on this one. All this analysis. So these are the, if you know all these analysis, whatever you want, you can use it. You are not going to use all these analysis you may not sometimes, but you may need some certain things depending on your size of the project, your complexity of the project. You will be using all these things. Now, what is alternative analysis? Alternative analysis, now if you say alternative analysis, it is we know what is the a different type of some doing work. Alternative analysis used to select the corrective actions, so a combination of corrective and preventive action to implement when a deviation occurs. So It's something. It's an alternative. So we have done some examples. Can you remember? Is it scope management? Yeah, we did this one. Alternative analysis. Somewhere we did a good example. So you can see alternatives. So you find alternatives. That means, so it is a way of implementing corrective actions or preventive action or combination of that. You find some alternative route. When you're doing the pipelaying, sometimes to do a corrective action to prevent, say you are going to prevent falling, prevent damaging a big tree. Have you seen certain road construction? Sometimes the road deviates because of a tree. Some bow trees sometimes. Have you seen that one? Road deviates without, so you can easily cut the tree and do the road. No, sometimes big trees, there are some big mara trees you have seen. Sometimes because of that tree, without cutting that, and the road deviates. Why? You find an alternative route. You take some preventive action. You don't cut the tree, you change the route. So likewise, you have some alternatives. So you can you can study the options. What are the options available? What are the alternatives available? And you do the corrective action or the preventive action. That is alternative analysis. So what is the cost benefit analysis? This is simple. Cost benefit analysis. Now it says cost benefit analysis helps to determine the best corrective action in terms of cost. That means this analysis helps to determine if the requested change is worth its associated cost. Say a cost benefit analysis is a financial analysis tool used to estimate the strengths and weaknesses of alternatives. See, it's a tool, we can say, to estimate the strength and weaknesses of the alternatives in order to determine the best alternative in terms of benefit provided. So that is a cost benefit analysis will help the project manager determine if the plan quality. This is what some different explanation. I will let you know that one. So you can say like this. You can say like this. This analysis, we can say, helps to, you can take down, determine if the requested change is worth its associated cost. A cost benefit analysis is a financial analysis tool used to estimate the strength and weaknesses of alternatives in order to determine the best alternative alternatives, best alternatives in of terms of benefits provided. Okay, and it also we can say a cost. Also we can say a cost. We can say simple terms. Will help project manager determine if the plan quality activities are cost effective. So this is you can take down this one. This is important. The analysis help to determine if the requested change is worth its associated cost. The cost benefit analysis is a financial analysis tool used to estimate the strength and weaknesses of alternatives. You have alternatives, so you will see whether these alternatives are cost effective, cost benefit. You get the it is a cost benefit. You get a cost benefit out of doing this one alternative. There are alternatives to do this work, but if you do the alternative one, what is the cost benefit? So the cost you are achieving, and what are the benefits you are getting? So what is the ratio of cost benefit in the alternative two? Likewise, you can compare and find the best option, best alternative. So this is the cost benefit analysis. So now if you come to the again to the point. Now that's the cost benefit. So if you now I will show you something. So examples. This is one thing. You see. Now you see the benefits. Now if this benefit income of rental, this one, income from the sales, this much, income from the sales after rental period is this much, total benefit is this much. When you calculate the cost, construction cost this much, sales and staff cost financial cost is this much, your total cost is this much. So cost benefit analysis is you divide by this one and that one, so you get 1.04. This is not a comparison, you get how to calculate the ratio. So you compare this ratio with the other option. This is option 2, you compare with the other one, you divided by d divided by h. That means your benefit is divided by cost, you get 1.4. That means benefit is more than the cost. If it is 0 point something like that, that means cost is more than the benefit. So cost benefit analysis is this one. This is the sum. So if you come to some other one, we compare comparison. Example, this is example. There's a project 1, project 2. So you calculate the CB, cost benefit analysis of this one. Total cost is this much. Total benefit is this much. So you calculate this one and see this coming ratio 1.5. You get 1.5. The other one, how much you get? Cost is that much, benefit is this much, and you calculate 1.81. If you compare this project 1 and alternative 1 and alternative 2, this one is more than this one. Project 2 is feasible, having high cost benefit ratio. So benefit is more here. So that is the thing you have to consider when calculating the cost benefit analysis. So if you take this one, Right. Okay. I mean, here they have done a mistake here. You have to correct this one. This is 12,000 divided by 8,000. Not this way, the other way. Then only, because benefit is, should be more than. Benefit එක උඩ තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට 12,000 divided by 8,000 you get 1.5. 20,000 divided by 11,000 you get 1.81. So benefit is more here. So cost benefit ratio is more, means you get more benefit by doing the alternative 2. Alternative 1 you get 1.5, alternative 2 1.81. So we will select alternative 2. So this is the cost benefit analysis. So, but the other one, earn value analysis. Earn value provides an integrated perspective on scope, schedule, and cost performance. So earn value analysis, this one I have some figures. Now here this one. Now if you go through this one, the cost and time. So this is the time phase budget. This is the earn value. This is the cost, actual cost of the work done. So earn value means, so now time phase budget is this one. Earn value means it is always, it is a delayed. It's a delayed project. In the above chart, the task of the project is behind the schedule and over. And for this behind the schedule, and at the same time, the cost is high. That means scheduled and over budgeted. This one and over budgeted, often expressed as cost variance. That is why there's a cost variance like this. And here schedule variance. So that is the thing. So this is the one we have to think of, that this is cost and schedule variance. You see, time phase budget. This is earned value, and so you compare this one. Earned value, your actual cost for that one. For this earned value, this is the actual cost. This is a high value. That means this it has overrun. Cost variance is there, and your schedule also, because you have the behind the schedule. Since it is behind schedule, you have a time overrun also. So you give the schedule variance and cost variance. It's the variance. And so this is the earned value. Earned value means what is you compare your actual work. You compare your actual work with the planned work. This is the plan. The plan. This is the actual. Maybe we are now talking about the cost. This is the earned value. Earned value means this one. So if you do some construction work, and now I will explain this one, otherwise you will not understand. So do you have this is all thing about the budget or cost. This chart is about cost, not about the schedule. This is about cost. So we are talking about the cost. This is the time phase budget. That means this much, this time, first year we have to spend this much. Second year we have to spend this much. Third year we have to spend this much, like that. So here up to now we have to spend this much, but we have to this is budget. But what happened? You have earned less value. You have earned less. So that is what we say. So even you have to spend that much, you have earned less, but your cost is high. You are getting this. That means you do some work, put your bill and get the money. So your bill for your submitted bill, you are getting a value, but you have spent more for that one. Your value don't change because it is estimation technique you have identified. They can then, now if you are doing the concreting work, for the concrete cube, we have agreed to pay 60,000 per cube concrete. So that is the one you are getting from the client. When you do the work, you are getting 60,000. But for the 60,000, you have spent 70,000 because you have used more labor, you have used machinery, and you have not monitored your work. You have spent 70,000 for your, that is the actual cost, but you are getting only 60,000. So there's a problem. There's a cost variance. So that is what it says. It's something like that. It's a simple example, but here it is like that. You have a time phase budget. You have under. You have not now in the, that's what a task is behind schedule. It is behind the schedule and over budgeted. So if another one, the same thing, time and cost again. So it says the budget. This is the baseline. This is on completion. This is the budget. On completion at this time. On completion, this is the budget. So it is the budget baseline. But earned value is this much. Actual cost is this much. So it comes here and see, actual cost is actual cost triangle. Here it's coming like this, right? And it crosses here. You see? So this is the thing you have to evaluate the earned value analysis. Earned value is the value of the actual work, whether it is cost overrun, whether it's a schedule overrun, whatever. Your actual work you are compared with the. This is about the budget we are talking about. Likewise, you can do the other things also. So this one, if you don't understand, it's not enough. You can go for the many examples of this one. If you go to the internet, you can get some. I think you have done this cost benefit analysis in your financial management one. So I don't want to, I think, explain in details or do the calculations. So, but if you want, you can go to the internet and find some literature on this one. I think it is covered in your financial management part. So you don't need to explain in details. So root cause analysis. What is root cause analysis? Root cause analysis focused on identifying the main reasons of a problem. That means you are going to the root cause. Why this has happened? So what is the root cause? What is the root of that one? Why this is happened? How did started problem? So you do a root cause analysis. Identify the main reason of the problem. It can be used to identify the reason for a deviation and the area that project manager should focus on in order to achieve the objectives of the project. You can carry out a root cause analysis. If there's a, say now there's a protest, it's some social problem. While carrying out the work, there is a social issue. So you go to the root cause. What is the reason of the root cause? If it is uncaring work of your project staff, that can cause some problems. Unrestrained with the people. So if you are, while doing the work, you are not considering your safety. You are not allowing people to go. You are not actually managing your traffic. You are doing the construction work on the road. So because of that, the people create problems. If there's a traffic congestion because of your work, so all these things. So you have to find the root cause for that. Why? If your works are not competent to control traffic, you have to change that one. You go to the root cause. If there's something while you are doing the construction work, there was the people show my house. See my house. There are cracks because of your work. So you have to investigate that one. You have to find the root cause for that one. Is it because of your type of machinery, or if you are not taken the protective steps, or your investigation is wrong? So you go to the root cause and you can implement that one. And you take this to the correct path, and you can make it correct. How? Learn in that one and do some corrective action, and you can take this to the right track in the rest of the work. Otherwise, it will go on like that. There will be a big problem. So root cause analysis is you are finding out what is the root of this one, why this has happened. Can we prevent that plan? What is the action you have to take? So root cause analysis is very important. Then the trend analysis. Trend is very simple thing. The trend, what is the trend of this project? So if you trend analysis used to forecast future performance based on past results. It took ahead in the project for expected slippage and warns the project manager ahead of time that there may be problems later in the schedule if established trend persists. The information is made available early enough in the result. The results of trend analysis can be used to recommend preventive action if necessary. So trend analysis is that much simple. So it's the trend curve. Trend curve. By the trend curve, you can identify. Now this is from the Apple company, their revenue, annual revenue, and their net income. So you know. Now the income is, now it's going in this way, V shape. That means this is now here 2012 it's like this, 14 it's like this, it's increasing. So your income and revenue deviating. So you should take some action. Your net income, this net income is your profits. Your profits are reducing compared to your revenue. So there should be some your cost problem or whatever it is. So this give a trend. Your trend, it's going like this. So it's now here it has turned up away. Now it can sometimes go like this. Sometimes it be parallel to this one. If it has come down, so it will be like this. So likewise, you can. So your revenue goes up. That is good. So it is increasing. Say upward trend. This is also upward trend, but you can see these ups and downs, the hikes and all that. So you can see whether it is. So now is currency also. Now you do this trend analysis. The dollar value changes. So how it is? What is the next one? So if you know 2018 like this, we can forecast 2019. It will become here by trend. This trend is here. It will not change suddenly here, but it will go like this. See, this is the trend. It will be like this. And 2018, it will the figure will be 19. This here figure. So you can say your trend also like that. 2019 it will go like this. You can forecast. So trend analysis is very important. And the variance analysis. We have talked about the variance analysis so many times. Variance analysis reviews the differences between planned and actual performance. That's the variance. What is the variance? On top of that, we do the change control process. This can include duration estimate, cost estimate, resource utilization, resource rates, technical performance, and other metrics. So variance analysis may be conducted in each knowledge areas based on this its particular value variables. In monitoring and control process project work, the variance analysis reviews the variance from an integrated perspective. All these things, variance analysis we have learned earlier. Anything can be there with the variance. So your cost, your time, your schedule. There can be some technical resource variances, many things. Whatever you have to address through the change control process in the monitoring and control process of integration management. So this is as simple as that. Variances, you know the variances, you will see the differences and you address that part. It could be scope, it could be schedule, it could be your quality is not at stake, but there can be some, say your communication techniques, whatever. There can be variances, additions or deductions or changes, whatever you can do. And decision making and meetings. Those things are the decision making and meetings are the main things. So in decision making, you know, there are certain techniques we are going to use. Here you can do voting. Voting, there are certain techniques: unanimity, majority, or plurality. All these things we have learned earlier also. Now, what is unanimity? Is a unanimous decision. So everybody agree that one. A decision that is reached whereby everyone agrees on a single course of action. Everybody like that one, right? Everybody say yes. So that is unanimity, unanimous decision, unanimity. So what is majority? A decision that is reached with support of obtained from more than 50 members. So that is majority. Now we say Budakai Kamati. The majority is with us. So there's a majority. So we can take the majority. It's like the election. It's majority. Now you elect the president, you get the majority. You will not get unanimity anyway, but you will get you consider the majority. He has taken more than 50%, so he will be the next president. A decision that is reached with support obtained from more than 50% of the members of the group. Having a group size with an uneven number of participation can ensure that the decision will be reached rather than resulting in a tie. That also can happen. Then what is plurality? A decision that is reached whereby the large block in a group decides even if a majority is not achieved. This method is generally used when the number of options nominated in more than 2. Yeah, that's right. The plurality is the cluster. That cluster, a group of a large block in the group decide even the majority is not 10. As a whole, the majority is not 10, but the larger group of group decide. These things we have discussed earlier also in details. So you can go through that note also. Majority and plurality. So how it happens like that. Unanimity, majority, plurality. Right. What else? Meetings. As I said, it's a thinking process. You get expert. They will implement these analysis processes and decide on a meeting. You take the decision in a meeting. Meetings may be face-to-face, virtual, formal, informal. They may include project team members and other project stakeholders when appropriate. Types of meeting include but are not limited to user groups and review meetings. So these meetings are very important. So there can be participants are the project staff is always their PM and the project staff, relevant staff. Then who are the relevant stakeholders? Who else? Your experts. All these things are in because to take the decision, you have to have the meetings. This meeting can be different type of meetings. Sometimes user groups, not only user B and review meetings, there can be some more meetings also. To take the final decision at different levels, you have to have the meeting. So that depends on your work. Sometimes you will be taking the decision at the ground level, otherwise that means the project level, otherwise for certain decisions sometimes you have to go to the top. So we have to convince sometimes the senior management, you have to convince. So that is the internal stakeholders or sometimes external stakeholders. So you have to have these meetings depending on your project work, industry, and based on all these things, you have to select what is the meeting you have to conduct to take the decision. So when you take the outputs, the main output is work performance report. That is the output. Work performance information is combined, recorded, and distributed in a physical or electronic form in order to create awareness and generate decision or action. So finally, you get the work performance report. Work performance report are the physical or electronic representation of work performance information intended to generate decisions, actions, or awareness. The work performance report it's a comprehensive report. You get all the details. Your work. So it is a very important one. That is the output of the monitoring and control. So seeing how the work has been carried out. It is always in that report. Everything is in details. They are circulated to the project stakeholders through the communication processes as defined in the project communication management plan. Examples of work performance report include status report and progress reports. Work performance reports can contain earned value graphs and information, trend lines and forecast, reserves burn down charts, defects histograms, contact performance information, risk summaries. They can be presented as dashboards, uh, heat reports, top lights charts, so other representation used. That also depend on the your industry. Sometimes the construction industry, you get all these graphs, and in the report, work performance report, that can be a progress report, status report. Work performance report is sometimes you may be producing it monthly, fortnightly, not fortnightly, quarterly. Sometimes it may be weekly. This performance report, normally in construction, I have this experience. The weekly report is coming, then monthly is coming, and quarterly coming in 3 months. So that is you get this uh, reports quarterly in that is mm, in normally I think, or in other industry also it's like that. uh, Normally you get performance reports. Based on the performance reports, you will forecast certain things. So your stakeholders, your clients, they can do many evaluation out of the progress reports. So you will get, so last month progress report, this month progress report, you can compare those two also, whether you have achieved certain things. Otherwise you will have to take some in the say the donor organizations. So if you say the now in many Sri Lankan big projects, sometimes donors are say Japanese or the British, whatever the foreign agencies, the Asian Development Bank, World Bank, JICA. Likewise, there are some donor agencies. So they are interested in this progress report, work performance report. They are very much interested because they should know whether you are doing some work for my money. I'm giving you money, whether you are achieving certain things. So they have to see. So that type of things are there. So this work performance report is very important as far as the project manager is concerned, and also the project is concerned, and the organization also. If you are a developing organization, you have to produce these reports in time. That is, you have to be very strict on this one. You have to have all these graphs, your trend analysis, your S curves, lot of things you do, and your risk registers, the risk you have, your grievance reports, all these are very these attached to this report. So these are very important report you have to prepare. So work performance report is very important in carrying out projects. So in monitoring and control process, you will get the work performance report as the main output. Then you have change requests as a result of comparing planned result, and when you compare the planned result to actual result, there can be change request to expand, adjust, reduce scope, product scope, quality requirements, schedule. Anything can happen while doing the work. You will may have to change anything. So for that one, you have to go through the change control process. For that one, you have to make the change request. Change request may be necessitate the collection and documentation of new requirements. Change can impact the project management plan, project documents, or product deliverables. Change requests are processes for review and disposition through the perform integrated change control process. That you have learned. So we have to carry out the change control process once the change request is there. So if you can remember the Deming cycle, you will get that picture how this change request is processed. So go through the Deming cycle, you will learn again what is happening in the change request process. Changes may include but are not limited to corrective action, preventive action, and defects repair. Are there. Either it can be a corrective action, an intentionally activity that realign the performance of the project work with the project management plan, preventive action, and intentional activity that ensures the future performance of the project work is aligned with the project management plan, defects repair, intentional activity that modify the non-conforming products. So if the product is non-conforming, you have to do some repair work. Defect is non-conforming, it is not up to the standard. So you are trying to repair that one. If there are defects, that is it's not up to your quality standard. So it is non-conforming. To confirm that one, you have to make it correct. So you do some defect repairs. So there are certain updates, your document updates and project management plan updates. That is always there. When you implement the change request and you have incorporate these changes to your project, there will be some even sometimes your scope might change, your schedule might change, so anything can change. So your subsidiary plans, if you change one subsidiary plan, your project management plan will change. So you have to do any changes to the project management plan goes through the organizational change control process via change request. Change just identified during the monitor and control project work process may affect the overall project management plan. It will affect the overall project management plan. So you have to update your project management plan based on these changes. So at the same time, your project documents have to be updated. That is your cost forecast, issue log, lesson learned register, risk register, schedule forecast. All these things you have to do your changes. So this is the process you have learned, and it is important and it's not that difficult. So I think you have gathered some information on this one. So the best thing is you go through this PowerPoint presentation, and if you need some these analysis techniques, trend analysis and cost benefit analysis or whatever, you can go to the internet and get some. Otherwise you go through your financial management notes. Sometimes you will find these analysis techniques if you want to learn more on this one, calculation and all that. So you have to go to that one. It's worth of studying those things. So I think that's all for the day. So if you have any question, you can ask or text me. Please answer my text message. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay. It says no. Then I think it's time to wind up. Okay, thanks. That's all for the day.